Hello everyone, and welcome to the Florida Aviation Network, where we are broadcasting live and in the clear from the Central Florida Aerospace Academy. And we are here celebrating the 50th anniversary at Sun and Fun at Lakeland Linder Regional International Airport. And we are so excited to be here. And for all of our viewers out there, I want you to please stay tuned at the end. As we roll the credits, we want you to stay tuned, stay on, because this is actually a Wings credit program. So I wanted to give you that little tidbit. Of course, I have the best job in the world being here at the Central Florida Aerospace Academy with Florida Aviation Network. I get to speak to some of the most awesome, phenomenal people, and I am here with David St. George, who is the Executive Director of SAFE. Mr. St. George, David, thank you for joining us.
Well, thanks for having me on, Lori.
That would be awesome. Now, we know that aviation, very much like NASA, is full of acronyms. So will you tell our viewers, SAFE, what does that stand for? And tell us a little bit about the organization.
Sure, I'd be glad to. SAFE is just a great name, perfect name, right?
It is.
Society of Aviation and Flight Educators. Very important emphasis on educators, not instructors. We're teaching a full person, but we're only 13 years old, a very young organization. It's a 501c3, so we're an educational not-for-profit.
Excellent.
When we come to the show, people look at the big logo. What do you sell? All we sell is safety, you know, and my board of directors is always on me because most of what we do is give it away free. We have a comprehensive app. I wrote an app for the organization that's free on the App Store, Android or iOS. It's Safe Toolkit, look for it, but it has a lot of our resources and it covers a lot of what we do.
That's awesome, David, and thank you for taking time to be with us today and for speaking with us. And thank you to our viewers for being part of our Wings credit so that when they watch they can get that credit. David, tell me, we're celebrating 50 years, and I know you're no stranger to Sun and Fun.
Right.
We're trying to, when we talk to our guests, find out your perspective since coming. How has it changed? How is it different? Can you talk to us a little bit about that?
Well, we were off camera talking about that, and it was pretty primitive in the beginning. You know, it was a fly-in, muddy. I camped, and you know, it's kind of very different now. None of these air-conditioning buildings and academies and the youth education. I mean, it has just blossomed, especially in the last probably 10, 12 years.
How long have you been coming, David?
I was trying to think that. You know, I came as a pilot, and I know I had the commercial in the second time, so I'm guessing it's 30, 32 years.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, I know that you've got it.
I'm up north too, so you know, Sun and Fun is like, sun? Okay, I'm getting out of Ithaca, New York.
Well, we were lacking that yesterday, David.
Yes, we were.
So much, it was more fun than sun, but we've got the sun back.
Perfect day today.
But I know you were just saying, can you tell, again, our fan viewers a little bit, you've got a very, very extensive background in flight and flying. I'm always interested, where did it start? And can you kind of walk me through the progression?
Good question, and you know, it's funny with the youth education here. I did start when I was 16. I was very fortunate, you know, my mom bought into it. You had two boys, but she had three, and she paid for my flight training. My brother, my older brother, will not get near an airplane, but so I learned to be a private pilot when I was 16, 17. Amazing. And then I acquired the certificates kind of incrementally. I ran a business for a while, but you know, after I became a flight instructor, and that was late 80s, so I've been a flight instructor, gosh, going 30-some years. But very early on, I became a master instructor, and the FAA came to me and said, you're going to be a DPE, so I've had the honor of being a pilot examiner now for about 27 years. So it gives you a good perspective on the flight training community when you're the evaluator.
Now, we were talking off camera. So you're the executive director of SAFE. You're a DPE.
Yeah.
But then you also
fly jet charter, yeah.
Awesome.
And that's just, it's a wonderful opportunity, and it's kind of an interesting story because I was telling someone is one of my flight instructors said, after all these years flying piston and many thousands of hours, said, "You should be flying jets," and said, "Yes, I should."
Yes. You know what? I love that attitude. I love that. That is all. Yes, I should. And now let me ask you a question, because you definitely are a person. You've got a finger really on the pulse of what's happening in aviation. And, we had heard, we've always known we need more people in aviation. Part of what we do at Florida Aviation Network is safety, but we're also trying to promote aviation. We're trying to recruit for aviation. Can you talk a little bit about what you're seeing as the climate and the changes that you've seen, the climate in aviation today?
Yeah, well, anyone that's been in aviation for very long knows there's this cyclical up and down. We've all seen that. 9/11, there was a big dip. 2008-9 with the recession, big dip. But I've never seen growth like we have now. And it's created a lot of pressure on the flight training market. Everyone wants all the opportunities for people to learn to fly. We want to move them along as quickly as possible. I was talking with one of the guys from the FAA, and they don't want to be an impediment to people progressing. But we always have to keep an eye on safety.
Right.
And we have to keep an eye on standards. The FAA standards are a minimum. They're the absolute minimum someone needs to achieve to get a pilot certificate. And what I'm seeing now more than ever is that people are just pursuing the minimums and achieving the minimums. 70% is good enough, and we were discussing that's never a good thing.
No. As an educator, as myself as an educator, no matter what field you're in.
Whatever field, right.
You never teach, minimum is not good. And especially in aviation, because that brings up a question to me for safety. And if they're meeting the minimums, are they then becoming the instructors and teaching?
Excellent question. Well, as we know in aviation, the flight instructor certificate is often one method of building hours.
Right.
And there's nothing wrong with building hours as a professional flight instructor.
Okay.
But we also know that there's abuse in that case where people are just using that method to gain hours and they're taking advantage of their clients. And so the real bell that got rung was Meg Godlewski wrote an article called Death by Hour Builder. And it was just an abusive case of a flight instructor posting on social media, denigrating the student, and they ended up dying in a convective activity. So everybody stood up and took notice. But it's what SAFE has always been aware of and focused on, which is improving that new flight instructor. Right. Because that is the primary influencer in aviation.
Right.
People think the DPEs, well, and they sort of are the gatekeeper, but they're not the primary influencer. The flight instructor is the person responsible for creating a safe pilot. They have them for 40, 60 hours. The DPE sees them for 2 hours. How can we, it really is just a check of what the flight instructor did. So we have a program called CFI Pro, and it's developed off of a program here in Orlando that Larry Enlow developed years ago. And it takes CFIs and it gives them another day of solid training to kind of provide the rest of the story. We call it the missing manual.
Okay.
All the things they didn't learn in that rush to get that temporary certificate that says flight instructor.
Right.
Because they're really a student teacher. And you did that in education, right? Yeah, you're a student teacher, you're under supervision.
Right.
That's not how it happens in the FAA. They're out there in the wild. Historically, there were mentors that kind of watched over them, added value as they were teaching. And I had an old curmudgeon who continually watched me, and I resented it at the time. But what an opportunity to learn, an older person, a mentor in aviation is critical at every level. So we just don't have that anymore. SAFE has the program CFI Pro, and that's going right to flight schools now.
Okay.
And if a flight school wants that added value, we will show up, we will provide in-house training. That intervention in the Orlando FSDO in 2 years, reduced accidents by 60%. What a genius program that was. But it really didn't continue. There was a fellow, Bob Jex, that kept it going. He's now retired.
Right.
But it's a program that's safe. You just look at it and you say, this is a no-brainer. Somebody has to do that. So being part of the industry, we picked that up and we kept it going, and it's had great success. The young instructors come up to me after a session, and they say, "Thank you so much for that." They're somewhat terrified to be in the seat with a new learner.
Well, it's as you said, David. It's like a student teacher with
Right.
your own, and there's far more at stake.
Yes, and that's the
aircraft.
critical one. And you were saying in any field, but aviation is what we call high consequence.
Right.
It's kind of like nuclear power stations. You don't want to be the one saying, "Oops."
Yeah. No.
So, and all of this growth is great, but we really do have to, manage the safety aspect. It's a balance, obviously. Right. And we've been all week, and Sun and Fun is such an opportunity to meet so many people. And if you guys haven't been here, you should attend. If you haven't been to the Safe booth, please stop by. We're over in the B hangar.
I was going to ask.
Yeah,
where
83,
are you?
84 in the Bravo hangar.
Good.
And for all flight instructors, tomorrow, Saturday, 1600 and 4 o'clock in the afternoon, we have an ice cream social. It's a round table for CFIs. We want everybody to come in, and we'll share some of these problems, questions, develop answers. So it's a community that really has to police itself.
Now I have a question for you, because this sounds like something that every flight school should be using.
Yes.
Is this a program that, is this nationwide? Are you taking it nationwide?
Boy, you are just a great interviewer. You're taking it the right place.
I'm a natural. Look at that.
No, we've just rolled it out as a national webinar, and it is FAA Wings approved credit.
Good.
And the next program will be May 19th. And we're taking all the elements of CFI Pro, and we're breaking down those 5 major pillars and explaining how the program works. And it's nothing unusual that a veteran instructor wouldn't know. In other words, if you own a flight school and you have new, young CFIs coming in, there's generally a program you have to go through to improve them. But this has systematized it, and as I say, it took it from the original program Larry Enlow developed. It's a very well-balanced curriculum, and people benefit. It's amazing. Like somebody sent me a picture of a young lady teaching during her CFI initial, and she's using my safe blog, with the angle of attack and everything, teaching. It's like that. As an educator, you know what that does for you.
It does.
So it's really getting embedded. And the new ACS, by the way, the ACS for CFI that just came out has secondary stalls. We're a very big advocate of the secondary stall to show people angle of attack.
That
basic safety stuff.
Well, and like you said, and I appreciate that, because I know. And like you said, it's unforgiving.
Unforgiving, high consequence.
We have to have, it's always safety first. What are your next steps? I mean, I know you don't sleep. So I know you don't. We've already talked about that. So you don't sleep at the 3 jobs. But where do you see yourself in the future? Where do you want to take SAFE in the future?
Well, it's funny. I talk to we're a 501c3 board of directors, and I say, we're right at the launch pad now. We have amazing resources. We have amazing support in the industry. So we're trying to get industry partners now, so we can put this program in 10 locations next year all around the United States.
That's phenomenal.
Yes. Historically, when we offered it just as a stand-up program, and we charged, money, we held it at AOPA. We got the most senior DPE CFIs in the whole country. And it's like the usual, we're preaching to the choir.
Well, I was going to say,
we want to reach
the ones that need it.
The young, poor, struggling CFIs. So we take it right to the flight schools. And, so in any community, if we can get 100 people, we'll go and do it. If we go to a university and we get 25, we'll do it. And we can temper the program and adjust depending on the audience and the needs. So,
that's awesome.
Anybody that gets this message can come to safepilots.org, see the program, email me. I'm sure there's contacts here, and we will get in touch and do a program.
And it's safepilots.org.
Correct, and I also write safeblog.org. I'm typing up the blog for Saturday.
Good.
We have lots of resources. The sort of nexus of all of it is that Safe Toolkit app. If they log in there, they can, and again, free, safe, not-for-profit. Always sell as safety.
We won't tell your board of directors. They might get upset.
Well, quite frankly, Lori, what we are is we're supported by our members, and they're very generous people. And a big, personal advantage is when they join SAFE, they get a third off ForeFlight. ForeFlight is our huge sponsor, so
That's
a one-third off. They pay us $45 and they save $70. The math is pretty easy.
That's easy.
Yeah.
No, absolutely. Now, I have to ask you, I know in the past, David, you've done several forums here, you've done speaking here.
Yes.
Are you doing any forums this time around, or no?
I'm not, but
Okay.
Veronica Cote is offering a course. Mike Klock, who's a Marine test pilot, is 11 o'clock tomorrow is offering upset recovery training, UPRT.
Phenomenal.
So there's, and the forums, you asked what's changed?
Yes.
Man, has that grown.
Yes.
This whole 3-story building full of people sharing safety, what a wonderful.
Hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of
That is the, and people, I never went to Oshkosh initially.
Really?
Because I thought it was an air show. I never realized the wealth of education, and so if anyone has that misconception, always think of it as an educational opportunity. Oshkosh, Sun and Fun.
Awesome.
The best people in the industry are here.
Well, it really is.
Yep.
And like you said, I think, anyone that comes and joins us, comes to Sun and Fun, not only are they going to see awesome planes.
Right.
That's
That's
absolutely
a given.
And they're going to see some great flying. But like you said, it's all about, we want to make sure that they come and see you, that they go into the hangars, and it really is about safety and about aviation education.
Yeah, and many of the vendors, they're safety oriented too. You look at the products that are coming out now, they're phenomenal. I mean, we all know how ADS-B has leveraged safety. You can see other planes now on your iPad, and there's about 60 EFBs, that they're out there in the hangars. Go find them.
I love that. Now, where again, we want to remind our viewers that are here, those that are watching, those that may be coming to join us, if they want to talk to you personally, David, if they want to know more about the program, they want to know more about SAFE, about CFI Pro, tell us again where they can find you.
Sure, yeah.
Because I know we're going to get ready to wrap up here, but again, where can they find you? And you want to give the tagline, go ahead and give the websites one more time.
Absolutely, yeah. Well, here at Sun and Fun, it's the Bravo hangar, which there's A, B, C. B is Bravo in aviation, and we're right in the center aisle on the right, 83, 84.
Okay.
And then, like I said, if you make it by tomorrow, we have an ice cream social at 4 o'clock for CFIs, free ice cream, you too, Bob. And we'd like to have everyone there. We have Jamie Beckett from AOPA coming.
Yes.
Yeah, Chris Palmer from up in Alaska. We have a lot of local celebrities going to be there. And the idea is to just interact, share safety, ask questions.
Excellent.
We have the new CFI certificate is not going to be expiring. There's a lot of big things on the horizon for the FAA, Mosaic. So we're going to talk about all those things.
Excellent.
Safepilots.org, safeblog.org. The app is Safe Toolkit, and it's on iOS or Android.
That is awesome. David, thank you so much.
It's been a pleasure.
All you do. You are extraordinary. Please promise that
just tell me that.
You are extraordinary. Please promise you will keep
did a great job.
Back,
yep.
to see us. And let me ask you one last thing. If there was a piece of advice, there was anything you could say to all of those individuals that are looking to become flight instructors or have become current flight instructors or most recently become flight instructors, is there any piece of advice, anything that you would
for flight
say
instructors? Okay.
Yep.
The big thing really, the secret sauce for a flight instructor is
That's what I was looking for.
I
knew you had it.
You have to be compassionate and caring. And you have to have empathy. You have to remember when you were there and you struggled as that individual, because people think that, flying is very motivating, but training is a struggle and there's plateaus. So really you have to, each individual is in charge of their training. So you have to listen and be compassionate. That's the critical thing. As like with any educator in any field.
And I remember learning myself. And as a student, being absolutely terrified.
Well, there you go. See, and you would be a good instructor because you remember that. Yeah.
And that is true.
It's easy to lose track of that, and why people drop out is frequently because we do terrify them. Really? We're going to show you stalls today. Yeah. Wow. I didn't come here to be terrified.
Right. I want to come here and enjoy.
Yeah, challenge and adventure. Yeah, not terror, challenge and adventure.
I love it. Well, David, thank you again for joining us. And we want to remind all of our viewers, Please, please stay tuned. As we finish up the program, we will be sending out the code so that you can get your wings credit. And please promise me you'll come back and see us again.
Oh, absolutely. As long as I can.
Fantastic. And get some sleep. You need to slow down. Anyway, my name is Lori Bradner. I'm with the Florida Aviation Network. We are here celebrating 50 years of sun and fun. We're broadcasting live and in the clear from the Central Florida Aerospace Academy at Lakeland Linder Airport. If you haven't been here to see us, it's definitely sun. We've got sun today and fun. You don't want to miss it. We've got something for everyone from 2 to 92. Once again, I'm Lori Bradner with the Florida Aviation Network, broadcasting live and in the clear. We look forward to seeing you here.